Hi, thank you for tuning in to the Patricia Show, and my name is Patricia. Please press like, subscribe, and share this audio with someone who you may feel need it. I didn't do a show last week because my grandson was shot and killed in Detroit, Michigan. His name was Keyshawn Harlan. And the funeral was last Sunday. The family hour was last Saturday. And I didn't attend. I'm in Colorado. I was unable to attend. But we watched the funeral on, they streamed it from the funeral home. And it was very nice. Now, my daughter, that was her youngest son, I've taught her about karmas and about a lot of the truth about our lives and what we're here for and the reason we came and God and just a lot of things like that. So she told me that this was very hard for her, but because I had taught her, she calls it the spiritual way. It was much more, I don't want to say easy because it wasn't easy, but it was, she had a much easier time accepting his death because she understood the spiritual side of why this happened. Now, when you come to this world and you plan out your life as to what you want, what's gonna happen or what you want things to be like, you also will determine the age you're going to be when you leave this world. Now, usually, not in all cases, but in some cases, when people come to this earth and you have a short time here, it's usually because you're helping your parents or your siblings or something like that you're helping them with their karmas. And it could be because you have decided to come back and whatever it is you're doing in your life, you want to come back and complete these karmas quickly. And maybe you don't want to have a full life. But people often really grieve, more so, I think, when the person is younger when they pass. And then, I don't want to say we forget because you don't really even remember that that person has chosen this life and they've chosen to leave this life early for whatever the spiritual reason is. Like, again, it could be to help. They could have came just to help the parents or the siblings with a karmic issue, or they may have stated before they even entered that they did not want to be here a long time. Or it could be that they wanted to quickly finish their karmas and return back to the spiritual world. My grandson was 24 years old. And so on this earth, we feel that when you leave at such a young age, you haven't lived. And people feel, worse because when a young person dies, because they feel that they haven't, lived. What we don't realize or we have forgotten when we enter this world is that you are a soul that have been on this earth several times. And when you come on this earth stage, it's like a play. You pick out who your mother's going to be, your father's going to be, your siblings are going to be, and you are all coming together for the good of whatever the karma is that you have to complete and also the other person has to complete. Life is not, I want to say, real, because your real home is in the spiritual world. So when you come here and you exit early, you're going home to your real life. It's like you go on, you're going somewhere, you're temporarily going on vacation and you choose to be there for a week or 2 weeks, and then you're going to return home. Your plan is not to stay on this physical earth or stay away from home a long time. Some people might choose to stay till they're 60, 70, 80, 90, even 100 and something, but not everybody, because maybe you could get done whatever you need to get done in a quickly way. Now, I've heard that and my understanding is that when a child entered this world, like let's say a child dies at about 6 or 7 or 8 years old, when they're that young, I'm going to say under 10, they have came into this world, and this is just about all the time. It doesn't have to be all the time, but it's pretty often when they choose to exit this world and they're that young. Mostly all the time, the cases are that they have came into this life to help their parents, to teach their parents a lesson, to help their parents with their karma, or whatever the case might be like that. And so then they choose to exit the world very young. Now, that's almost always. If it's over, 10, 11, 12, like over 10, I'm going to say, then it still could be that they're here to teach, a lesson for their family members, but it could also be their own karmas. That maybe they just want to come in this world and work on a couple of their karmas and then just leave. Maybe they didn't want to work on a lot of them. Maybe they just want to come and work on one and then exit. We don't really know, and we won't really know until we leave this world and go back home. And then, you could talk to them and ask, why did you choose to leave so early? But 9 times out of 10, you already know. If that was your son or somebody in your immediate life, you made arrangements with them before even entering this world that you were going to exit this world at a young life. When my grandson was a baby, I had told my daughter, she has 2 sons, and I had told her that one of her sons would not live a long age, that one of her sons would die very young, and he would possibly be in his 20s. And I told her this when her boys are a year apart. And I told her this when they were they were really young, maybe 7 or 8 months. I mean, they were very young when I was able to see that. The 2 boys have always been, they just they were like twins. The 2 boys, they were very close. And like I said, they're only a year apart. And so sometimes when they're that close like that and you're trying to read their energy, you might not see which one it is. You know what I mean? You might just be able to say, well, okay, this is one of them. I don't know. Their energy is so intertwined that I can't see which one it is, but it is definitely going to be one of them. You know what I mean? Now, her 2 boys, like I said, they were very, very close spiritually. It was like their energy was really intertwined. In this life, it was like a love-hate relationship. He was a sibling. They were always there for one another, they had each other's back. They both pretty much had the same friends, but, they had their own individual friends, but, these young kids call it like the crew. So, they all were involved in the same crew. in other words. And so they were very, very close. But then, they would argue and have sibling, issues just like any other sibling because they had karmas together. But in the most part, these two boys they were very, very close. So when he first entered into this world, because again, they were little babies when I told her this, I could see at that point that he was not going to live a long life. So this is something that was already prearranged before he even entered this world. And because when we enter this world, our memory is close to whatever it was we planned for ourselves, as well as our past lives. All that memory is just closed off. You don't remember what happened, or you don't remember what you've set for yourself. Now, a lot of people in America don't believe. I said America because most places they do believe in reincarnation, but a lot of places a lot of people in America don't, because this is not something that they start off teaching in the church. I mean, just within recent years, people are gotten more familiar with reincarnation, and maybe they believe it now, and they didn't before. Just because you don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true. You cannot possibly finish all of your karmas in one lifetime. You cannot possibly do that. You're here to return to the bosom of your Father, which is the mighty I am. You cannot possibly do that in one lifetime. It takes many, many lifetimes for you to do that, because first of all, you have to complete 51% of your karma before you can even make your ascension, which is returning back to the mighty I am presence. And I'm just going to say return to the bosom of your mighty I am presence. So in order to do that, you have to complete all your karmas. Now, it's 51, not all your karmas, but it's 51%. Whatever karmas you've created over many, many lifetimes, when you have completed 51%, that's when the ascension begins. Now, the next couple of shows that I do, I'm going to explain this more fully. I'm going to explain what happens when you do pass, and how you choose your parents, and how you choose your body, and how you even choose the career that you want to be in, or what you want to do. Like if you want to be a musician, what city will you be reincarnating in that would be more feasible for you to get to the success that you want to get to? You choose all of that before entering into your life. Now, I know that a lot of the churches, the majority, don't teach this, but what you have to remember, again, just because you don't know these things or been taught these things, that does not mean that it's not true. Okay? So, it's really a tragedy, though, whenever we lose someone, especially when they're a young age. It's a tragedy because we're grieving that we're not going to see them anymore, because we're really grieving for yourself. You're really not grieving for them. You're grieving because you're not going to see them anymore. You feel in this form. You're going to see them again when you pass on. You'll see them in spirit form, but you're not going to see them in this form with the body that they had and the voice that they had, and you're not going to see them in that form anymore, but you will see them again. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Patricia Show. And again, my name is Patricia. You all have a wonderful week.